Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the session, Communication Across Differences. And apologize for the technical error of the link. Hope that people will come again, people will come later. Many more. All right. I would like to share my screen. Oops. How is it? Does it play? Anybody can
Yes.
feedback? All right. When I share screen, I cannot see anything in the room. I just know that. Okay. Then I start. Jen, can you help in the feedbacking to me because I cannot see the Zoom room.
Yes. Looks good.
All right. Okay. All right. Once again, if you are okay, I would like to invite you to everyone to put your country behind your name so that I can know where you're from. All right. And I was invited here to share some kind of another way of communication. And Elaine said that it should be interactive. And I will use an approach called NVC, Nonviolent Communication. I feel a little bit excited because usually I was a lecturer in peer study before, but 8 or 7 years ago, I started to learn more about this kind of facilitation, especially working with people's inner world, because I feel I have experienced that we quite critical and intellectual, be cognitive in many things when we work on conflict transformation. But seems like we cannot understand each other. So I start study about NVC and many other approaches. But today I share the way to communicate with NVC. So it's gonna be a little bit mixed between head, heart, and a kind of body wisdom. We will engage with some kind of body sensation online. Let's see if we can try. And I try to make it experiential. So sometime I will off the screen share so that I can see people's face. And some of case study that I pick up and we share my trigger anyone's pain. I apologize in advance, and you can inform me that it's trigger you. All right. And this session is recorded, so if there is any time, any sharing that you want to share but don't want to be recorded, please inform me so that I can pause the record. All right. Right now, I am the consultant, facilitator, and coach. My special area is about conflict facilitation and communication. I work in, I work in organization. I mean the organizational communication and conflict transformation, public sector, private sector, and social sector. And also work outside organization, like the screen that you saw. Two photo above is that when I work in Myanmar, working about interfaith, intra at that moment is about Buddhist interfaith dialogue, but now it's branching more to for the Muslim, and we plan to the organizer in Myanmar plan to have interfaith between Buddhist and Muslim in the year to come. And the lower photo is what I facilitate. At that time, I still have long hair. I facilitate a workshop in deep south provinces of Thailand where Muslim and Buddhists have conflict with each other. There's many reasons about this conflict. So I won't go to that route. Just want to share. James sent some chat. Few questions. Okay. I have a few questions on use of NVC in practice. What should we do when, even after hearing each other needs, people are not able to provide for those needs? Okay. Other party feels that one's need is just too much and seemingly unnecessary. Positive feedback. Okay. Let's see if when I give some in the middle of this session, I might come to answer this question from Midu. All right, thank you. Okay. And because we would like to have this session to be interactive, then I try not to have lecture that much. And I would like to share my passion that I learned in BC. Actually, I have shared already. I would like to share a little more before I ask everyone. So be prepared, okay? My inspiration to start study NVC is because apart from what I see in the deep south, violence between Buddhist and Muslim and the soldier and the separatist group of in Thailand, apart of that, I encounter my own personal experience of crisis. That even I work in peace studies area, I found that more and more when I go to my workplace, I have fight and conflict with my colleagues. And when I come back home, I have conflict with my wife and kids also. So I feel that it's quite strange that I work in peace studies. I work in conflict transformation, but I cannot communicate well and resolve the conflict with my personal relationship with colleagues and my wife. Then I study NVC to have more effective communication, but also have a caring relationship too. And I study NVC with my inspiration that I will bring it back to peace studies. I will introduce this to peace study and practitioner to use this more, because I can see that people cannot understand each other. They just defend, argue, and judge and blame each other. Many declarations of activists, they just blame the other and demand the other to do something. And I found that this kind of communication, the other side will defend. They won't do that as we demand in our declaration. So that's my experience. That's what moved me to NVC? Now I would like to ask everyone about this question. I would like to know your intention in coming here, in coming to this session, that what do you deeply care about that moved you to join this session? I put it on slide like this because I'm not sure about my English accent. And you can reflect on this. What do you deeply care about that moved you to join this session? You can reflect it and write it onto the chat. And I will stop the screen sharing to see the chat too. And when you reflect on this, what you deeply care about, please notice about whatever happened in your body. See if there is any body sensation or body signal that happen when you touch to what you deeply care about. For myself, what I care about deeply is people understand each other so that they have no need to use violence against each other. I stopped screen sharing for a while. Okay, so we have 22 people here. Jane deeply care about misunderstanding.
Do we speak up or do we just post?
You can post and you can choose to speak too. I think for the sake of the time, maybe we can have only 2 or 3 people to share verbally. But I would love to see everyone so that everyone can put onto the chat too. Thank you for the question. Miro deeply care about expressing well and help people to understand each other. Okay, dialogue, resolve conflict non-violently.
I guess I'll just mention that for me, I joined so that I learned how to communicate well for the sake of my marriage, like you and my children, because often we're not taught good practices, and I'm conscious that I want to make sure that my children learn to communicate well too.
Thank you, Elaine. Oh, yeah, she didn't raise the hand. She want to say something? I feel touched when you share about your intention to communicate better with your kids, because I myself also value my relationship with my kids too. And I can feel that my body sensation, the hair, skin hair just rising up. Yeah, because it feel move. Thank you. Martin, you want to say something? Anyone want to share out loud? Or you can put it onto the chat. Okay.
Okay,
No
I'd
one,
like to share something.
Stephen, right?
Steve, yeah, Stephen,
Yeah.
from from Malaysia, your neighbor.
All right.
Okay, I think in conflict situation or in a multicultural environment, what we say might be influenced by our upbringing or our own narrow perspective. The other party might not necessarily understand us because they don't grow up in the same cultural background. I experienced this in the negotiating environment. So you have to make it so clear and simple that the other party understand what you want. Because if not, and the other thing is that in the Asian society, nodding their head is not consent or agreement. No? So we have to be very cultural perspective. It may be I'm taking note, okay, but it doesn't mean I agree with you. And if you cross boundary to speaking to African or to Arabs, I think you have to also be very clear, particularly if English is not their mother tongue. Okay, sometimes they process what they hear from you through their own mother tongue to understand their English. So we have to be very clear how we communicate with people. This is very crucial if you are negotiating with people in conflict situation.
Okay, thank you. So you mentioned about the shared understanding about behavior of communication. Yeah, because different culture have their different behavior and different meaning of that behavior. Yeah, thank you. Maybe one more and we can move.
I would say to what this person just said, the issue about communication is not only what you're saying, but how people are receiving it, and to understand what you can say or how you can say it, that they don't understand it differently from what you intended. And is that coming from their culture or their language, as was just mentioned, or is it in the way that you say it or what you say, either the choice of words or the tone? I'm not sure what it is, but I often find that when I share something, it's not taken, I realize that it's not received the way I intended to, with the intention that I have.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's almost every time. Yeah, everyone have this kind of experience too. I have also. We cannot control people's interpretation about what we say. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, so no one write onto the chat too. If you want to share, you can write more onto the chat about what you deeply care about. And now I think I'm gonna move to the share screen again. Where is it? Okay, here. Okay. I hear some voice. Okay. How can I mute? Yeah. If you don't say anything, please mute. Thank you. Okay. Here. Uh-oh. Mute all. Am I hearing? Am I heard?
Yes, you're good.
Okay. Yeah. Then I go. Here is Marshal Rosenberg, who developed nonviolent communication. And he developed this because his own experience since childhood. He is Jewish, and moment. Okay. During the year 1943, in Detroit, Michigan, there's a race riots. And during that time, he was a boy. He said that he cannot go out and need to lock down at his home for 4 days because outside 30 people in his neighborhood were killed in that 4 days, and it's quite scary for him. And after that, when he went to the school, he said that he was threatened because of his last name. Then he just wondered that why people just know his last name and that something happened and want to threaten him. This is one situation that inspired him about develop this NVC. Another situation, he said that in his house, he has grandmother, quite old and totally paralyzed. And many people, his uncle come every day to take care of his grandmom, cleaning her body and feeding her and take care of her very well, smiling very beautifully. So Marshal so impressed about that scene, that his uncle doing this to his grandmother. So he come up with 2 questions. The first question related to the race riot is that he said that why people want to harm others just because of their skin color, their religion, or other backgrounds. And the second question is that how come other kind of people just like his uncle just enjoy contributing to other people's well-being like his grandmother? And these 2 questions stick with him until he grown up for university degree, and he start to investigate for this question. And finally, he come up with the answer like this in this model. I would say people psychology is like iceberg. Many people will quite get used to iceberg model, that above of the water level is the tip of the iceberg, which is behavior and some situation, some strategy that we choose to react to the situation outside. We just see what happened in this level, but under the surface of the water, we have feeling that people learn not to express. Modern people learn to be calm and don't express feeling. But feeling is very important for us because the feeling is the clue to go deeper to what we really need. And he found the universal principle that all human actions, whatever they do, whatever they behave, are to make their needs met. Many people want to shout out just because they need to be heard. They need to be recognized. The kids need attention from parents. That's why the kids keep asking, keep annoying mother or father. Same with, I would say, many people use violence is because they want to serve their need of being respected, being heard, being seen, something like that. And if that kind of need are not met, we will be like this kind of sunflower. It's, the feeling gonna be negative, sad, numbed, or anger. But if the needs are met, we're gonna be sunshine, like this kind of sunflower. This is just the theory, but this is the universal theory of NVC that we can use in every situation. Next, I would like to share one story. When Marshal Rosenberg met the Zulu street gang in St. Louis, in the inner city, at the inner city of St. Louis, Marshal is talking with the minister in the meeting in a black church at the heart of the black community area. Yeah, he is white, Jewish, talking with minister in the black area, and suddenly the Zulu is a gangster. The Zulu warlord, which is black, know that he come. Then the Zulu warlord just want to join. Then he came uninvited and sat down in that meeting and stare at Marshal Rosenberg. Listen to Marshal Rosenberg. At that time, Marshal is talking about the process of communication. He is sharing about his NVC and offering that he can help in the race relationship issue. And suddenly, the Zulu warlord says something like this. He said that we don't need a great white father coming down to teach us how to communicate. We know how to communicate. You want to help us? Just give us your money so that we can buy gun and get rid of fools like you. Everyone, when you hear, you can, let's check if you hear something like this. As Marshal Rosenberg, what do you feel? What will you respond? And what happened? What would happen in your body? And anyone can guess what Marshal will respond? I've stopped here for a while to see the chat, or anyone would like to say. And can you guess what you're gonna respond if you are like this? Respond in hurt. Elaine said, thank you. Sadness, Elena. Who's sadness, Elena? Okay. At that time, Marshal Rosenberg said that he's not in that mood of responding using NVC. So he just respond like normal habit. He didn't say that what he respond, but I can guess that he might defend himself. I will say use this. I guess that he might say something like, he might reply back to the Zulu that you don't know, I come to help you. You don't know what happened. You don't know how to speak. That's why a lot of black people do something violent or criminal. And you must understand that I have a good intention to come to help all black people. And you can guess if he said like this, things go nowhere because the Zulu warlord will respond and defend. And Marshal said that it's gonna be back and forth. It's just being back and forth between him and the Zulu warlord. And for a while, he come back to his NVC. And finally, he replied back like this. finally he said that you would like some respect for how the people here communicate. And you would also like some awareness of how other people have oppressed those people they originally say they are going to help. Is that right? And just speaking this word, the Zulu warlord just stop and sitting there, listen to Marshal until the end of the meeting, say nothing. And after that, after the meeting ends, Marshal said that it's quite dark outside and he tried to get back to his car, which is quite risky because he's white in the black neighborhood. And before he reached his car, there's a sound of that Zulu member called his last name, Rosenberg. Then Marshal said that, oh, I'm too late. Then Zulu member said that, give me a ride. And Zulu warlords asked him to go to some destination. And in the car, they have conversation. The Zulu warlord asked Marshal like this. He asked, what were you doing to me in that meeting? And asked, can you teach me how to teach that to the Zulus? He wants to share this kind of communication to his member in his gang. You can see that just one reflection that Marshal reflect on the Zulus' need to be respected and aware, being aware of himself as a white, come to help the black people that was oppressed. Just that reflection changed this conversation. And Marshal replied back that, okay, I'll teach you, but I will trade you. That you must go with me to Washington on this Thursday, because I was invited to work with the school system to show why black kids are burning down the schools. And right after that, Marshal Rosenberg and this Zulu member worked together for next 13 years. They go all over the south of the USA to prepare for school, for desegregation. And that Zulu member later on become a head of public housing service at the city of St. Louis. And another member of Zulu later on become mayor of St. Louis. Yeah, you can find this story in this book, Speaking Peace in a World of Conflict. Okay. I'll stop here. I would say this is the power of empathy. And it's just like the subtitle of this book, saying that what you say next will change the world. It's just like the word that Marshal said to the Zulu, change his relationship with the Zulu, and they can be the buddy and go and work with a very important issue for 13 years. All right. So any question at this moment? Before we go on. How do you KMPY, what is that? What TP reflect?
How do you know what to reflect back?
Okay, thank you. How do you know what to reflect back? Okay, this is the key. Usually when people respond or reflect to each other, they just focus on the tip of the iceberg over the surface of the water. They just focus on people's behavior, like parents always say that kids behave well. Yeah, don't do this, don't do that. Stop asking, stop shouting. Yet just everything focus on the behavior. But what Marshal respond to the Zulu gangster is they get to the, under the water to the need level, and they reflect about you need of respect of the communication of these people in this area, and you need us to be aware of we are the same group of the people that oppress the black, right? Yeah, just reflect on the need level. This is very key of NVC. Marshall said that we cannot solve conflict when we talk about the action. Even solution can bring us more conflict, another level of conflict. Yeah, thank you. And if we focus on the need, at the need level, Marshall said that if we can synchronize or we can connect to each other in the need level, conflict will solve very quickly. Okay. So any question want to ask? Question? Please unmute yourself and ask. Or you can raise your hands. You can turn on your camera so that I can see your face. All right. I'm thinking that I try to make this session more interactive. Let's see how interactive it can be. After next topic that I'm gonna say, actually I would like to have some activities. What I see in the world here is that when people communicate with each other, they just communicate in the behavior level, action level, which is like Stephen said, that there's a lot of meaning and different meaning of people's behavior. If we cannot synchronize or try to make clear about our intention of that behavior, or if we cannot speak out our own need by being doing that kind of behavior, understanding, mutual understanding is quite difficult to reach. And what I would like to share next is our two modes of our communication. There's two kinds of languages, and Marshal Rosenberg make it as jackal versus giraffe. As you might see my backdrop, there's a lot of giraffe backing me. Yeah. On the left side is jackal language. Usually when we speak, we always being like this. We talk like this. We judge people. We blame others. We just like you're selfish. For interpersonal level, we say you are selfish. For the group level or even intergroup, like interethnic level, I heard many people say that this kind of ethnic are selfish. When we say something like this, it's gonna be more burn more heat, because it's not only individual people now, but we talk about all group. Yeah, we judge, we blame all that kind of group. And when we say something like this, there's a lot of problem. The second thing that we use when we speak as jackal is that we compare things like this kind of religion are more open than that kind of religion, something like this. Or I have heard that these ethnicity are more clever than another ethnicity, something like this. When we compare like this, we've been like jackal, we bite each other, and we can expect someone defend back, blaming back or judging back to us also. The third kind of jackal language is that denial of responsibility. Something like, it's not my fault because you do this to me. That's why I need to do this back to you. We have heard something like this a lot, especially in nonviolent action. People try to keep nonviolent, but when they turn to use violence means, they always use this kind of justification that because I was shot by the gun. Our group was shot by the gun from that side first, then we need to strike back using violent measure, something like that. The fourth jackal language is that we demand, we coerce, we pressure, and we threaten others. Like I also sometimes when I feel tired, I sometimes threaten my kids that please, stop asking, stop being noisy now. Ask why this weekend we will not go out and you cannot have the sweet, something like this. This is also threaten, yeah. And threatening can be in the group or race level also. Marshall said that we were raised up like this as a jackal language. Okay, and another way that we try to communicate, and NVC encourage to communicate, is by giraffe mode. Giraffe mode, usually they try to understand and give people empathy. Like during COVID, many people say out, or not say out, but there's a lot of words like this, that this man or this woman are virus. They contain virus to us. This is jackal, right? But if we speak in giraffe language, we can speak that I feel scared and I would like to be sure that my health is going to be safe and healthy, because my health is very important for my kids and my older parents at home. You can see the difference between these two modes of jackal and giraffe languages. Okay, I will go to next one. Rather than compare that your religion is more open than the other one, we might, in giraffe, we might express that I wish every religion were open to learn from the other religion. This is to share your value, to share your wish, rather than compare, because compare is quite forceful for the other, and people will feel defensive. The third kind of giraffe is that taking responsibility, rather than saying that because that side hit me first, then I need to punch him back. We might say that because I got hurt and I lost my control to be in nonviolent discipline. I feel angry, then I need to fight back. Then I lost control and I punch him back. This is taking your own responsibility. The last one is request. Request is that it's not demand, because demand, people cannot say no. Request is that, would you be willing, like I said before, that this is invitation for everyone to put the country after your name, something like this. This is request, and you can say no, and you don't need to put it onto your name, something like this. This is request. And in NVC, we try to use giraffe language, as even in response to checker language also. And this kind of giraffe language we can use to empathy other and empathy ourselves. All right. Talking too long now. I stop sharing here. Right now, anyone would like to have some question before we go to some practice?
How long did it take you to learn how to do this properly?
I'm not sure. I don't know when that I can say that I can do it properly, because I fail many times, especially with my kids, because we need to stay with them for 24 hours and we lost our mind, our awareness many times. But I would say roughly after I took 1 year long program of NVC, I changed my conscious and integrate this into my conscious, integrate giraffe language into my consciousness. And after that, I practice more and more, using it in every level. And I would say, actually my wife is my grand teacher, because every time when I fight with her, I learn more and I practice NVC more to her. There's many times that she come and say something to me about her own confused. I just give her, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? I give her solution. And she said that, don't you think I can think out myself about my solution? Then I just, okay. What she say means that she need me to listen. She didn't need some solution. If I can focus on her need, I can understand her. But if I focus on her behavior, I will respond with another thing that, why do you do this to me? I try to think some solution for you. Yeah, and things gonna circulate endlessly. So something like this. But I found that practice this to kids is more difficult than with my wife. I can share a little more that when I work with a monk in Myanmar, he is quite, people call him quite radical, national and right wing. And we come to the issue about the Rakhine state with there's a lot of Rohingya there. And this monk in the workshop saying that there's a lot of stick yard, very sharp, alongside the pathway that the monk need to walk through. There's a lot of threatening from the other side to our Buddhist people. When I hear this, I reflect back about his need. That actually what I didn't reflect back. I asked him, what, when you say like this, what actually you need? What actually your concern? What actually important for you? I asked him this kind of question 1 or 2 or 3 times. Finally, he came back and answered that, okay, I understand that safety is the first priority, and I understand that without Muslim safety, Buddhist people cannot be safe also. Yeah, that's when we communicate using the need level and we focus on each side concern. That's why we're gonna say that, are you sure that there's some stick like that? And that monk say something like this also, that if you don't believe me, I can call to the man in the area at this time so that I can confirm you. If we go to that direction, it's gonna be like this. But if we come to a kind of giraffe and empathy with each other and focus on the need of each other, the communication, the connection can go together. All right. It's quite quiet here in this session. Anyone would like to speak? I'm not quite get used to speaking alone for many years now after I quit the professorship in university. Just learn of your request. Okay, that's about country. I'm not sure how to go on because experiential session need a lot of interaction. That's why I can just only lecture and lecture, which is not effective.
Excuse me, I just came late. My name is Vincent.
Thank you, Vincent.
Yeah, but I wasn't really sure whether I was supposed to join here because firstly, I was in the group for Europe, Africa, but I didn't know the exact time. Right. But I find the topic really very interesting because it tells us on how we need to talk to each other on the communication levels. And of course, your experience is quite inspirational because sometimes we become a bit more problematic to be able to exercise patience when we talk to each other, or to be able to understand each other's feelings, and I really find it very beneficial. So you can continue, probably maybe you can ask more questions and we can be able to participate. Probably some of us don't talk when we are not being asked a question. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Feeling more good because I need some interaction. I need some, I need to feel that this is, I am self-empathy also. I need to feel that I'm not speaking alone here and no one here, or not contribute to someone. Yeah.
You're not speaking alone. You're saying a lot, and it takes, I think, time to take in everything that you're saying. and to understand the different perspectives or the different points of views about what you're sharing, and also to understand from one's own perspective how to utilize that. Because I always come back to the same issue about, I know I happen to be somebody who's very empathetic, and yet I still can rub somebody the wrong way. And it's never with the intention to do so. So the question becomes, it's what I said in another session, is it because of the way that I said it? Is it because of the choice of words? Is it because of the upbringing or the culture of the individual that I'm speaking with? How to understand what it is that's not connecting to be able to connect? And why is it that people are afraid, and more often than not, to actually say, to be straightforward and to say what they're feeling or to say what their concerns are, so that that communication can happen? I feel that most people will not share what they're really feeling or what their concern is, because they don't want to hurt somebody or they don't want to offend somebody. But communication is about, if it's about connecting, then those feelings have to be shared. And I think it can be shared without necessarily, it can't be, I don't take something personal. I want people to give me feedback, because sometimes I don't realize that there is an issue from their perspective. And by letting me know, then I can analyze that, try to understand it, and see if there's another way of saying what it is I'm trying to say or to ask. I don't know, it's even hard for me to actually put it in words, but.
Yeah, thank you, Isabel. Yeah, I thought that it's quite difficult for people to express their feeling and especially needs, because we were not resting up to be aware about our own need and feeling. I'm not sure about other culture, but in my culture, people just look outside what the other expect us to do. And parents always teach kids that you need to get into this famous university so that you can have success, get more good job, good salary. So we run outside always rather than come back inside to understand, actually we are very tired and I just want mom to accept me whatever I am. Something like this. We cannot speak like this because it's too vulnerable. Many times when we speak like this, it's like we are naked. Yeah, psychologically, we naked. And when we naked, nothing to protect us. And if other side just say something that which is quite laughed, like just silly, what you say is silly, we will feel very hurt, right? And after that, we will close our mind. We won't express our inner feeling and need anymore.
But even psychologically dressed, we can still get hurt, and probably even more so because of the unsaid or the non-said. It's more dangerous. That can be a lot more painful, and there's no reason for it, because having said what needed to be said, then that pain or that vulnerability wouldn't exist, wouldn't have to exist. It's almost like a false protection, this non-verbal communication.
Right. Yeah. So being giraffe is quite, we need a lot of courage to speak out without defending ourselves, but speaking deeply, truly from inside us. Yeah. Yep.
But doesn't that come from the education, from the way we're all brought up within our cultures, and the fact that it seems to me that all cultures have that same base of not really communicating truthfully for fear of whatever could happen. It seems to me that that's a worldwide phenomenon, not just a cultural thing. And if that we teach our children from the beginning about communication, about sharing, about speaking their mind, about standing up for what they believe in, but doing it in a way that is nonviolent and is not hurtful to others, then I don't understand how that would not lead to a more open, fluid communication among everybody, across cultures, across barriers, across countries. Or is that too idealistic?
What I hear from you is that you wish people to be more open and speak from the heart, from the true self more easily, so that we can solve the problem more easily. Is that right, Isabel?
I don't know if it's that it's easier, but I think that there's more of a chance of coming to an understanding if we speak without without any barriers, without any coverings, because it seems that those coverings or those hidden and non-said is what creates the misunderstandings.
Yeah.
That layer that everybody puts on how they're going to speak or what they're going to say, what they're not going to say, what they are not going to do, is in itself what actually creates, it seems to me, what actually ends up creating a lot of the misunderstandings.
Yeah. What I hear is that what you deeply care about is people understanding each other, right?
I don't know if it's understanding as much as accepting each other.
Accepting.
We all are who we are, and we all have feelings and we all have opinions that are not wrong or right. They are formed by how we were brought up, about how the environment that we grow up in, the culture that we grow up in, and being able to share that with other people, and for me allows for an understanding that becomes 360 degrees. I could never know what it is to live in another country if I've never been there. I fortunately have lived in multiple countries and therefore have a much open, from what I've seen, much more open-minded, because I've had the fortune to have lived in different societies and different cultures, and sometimes I think that that's part of the issue, that I mean, we live in a world where there's no technology, it breaks down all the barriers. There's no more reason to, you can know what's going in other countries. You can't feel it necessarily, other than being empathetic and compassionate about what's going on, but you can never walk in somebody else's shoes theoretically. But that doesn't impede you from having accepting what it is that what an individual has gone through, listening to it, sharing your experiences, and trying to find some common ground.
Yeah. Thank you. To frame what happened between in conversation with me and Isabel, I would like to frame it a little bit, that now what I try to do is guessing the need or what's important for Isabel that she said, underneath of what she said, so that we understand each other well. All right. And from the last word that Isabel said, that I understand that what very important for her is acceptance us as human being, as we are, right? And
I'm sorry, are you asking me to respond, or are you still reframing? I apologize. I don't want to interrupt you.
Thank you, Isabel.
Sorry.
Maybe we just stop here.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Isabel. You're so lovely. And oh, okay. There's a lot of questions. It is Elaine just put another question that was put before, right? By Miru, right? What should we do when we hear each other's needs, but we cannot provide those needs, right? Miru, is that from Miru, right? To my memory. Is he still here?
He had to leave because he's based elsewhere. But I guess the question is, what should we do when we've voiced our needs, but either the other party can't provide for those needs, or they don't want to because they think it's unnecessary, or they just fall back on their position. So you're being vulnerable, and the person is not really taking your needs seriously.
We can say to the other side something like this, that I know this is very important for you and you would like me to serve you for this kind of need, but at this time I'm very tired, or I'm not in capacity to provide this to you. I feel sad that I cannot serve you at this point. And maybe I can find someone else or some measure, some way else to support you, something like this. We can say, we can express our good intention to connect with others first. And we can say our limitation, that even we intend to serve this, but our capacity is not allowed, something like this. Okay.
Okay, Chacha, I want your experience.
Yep.
I'm not focusing on the social level. I want to know your experience in conflict situation.
Yes.
Okay. To me, in the conflict situation, sometimes I think the media or the West have a certain perception of a situation which makes things, make it difficult to resolve the problem we have in the conflict situation. Okay, let's come to the issue of Rohingya because it affects me. Okay, okay. Irresponsible politicians in my country have made it as if we are receptive to Rohingyas landing on our shores. Okay, by doing so, Rohingyas are coming here in big numbers. Okay, and in the current pandemic situation, there's a paranoia of foreigners here because there's no proper check on people who are positive in the COVID virus. Okay, so you see, we start attracting more and more people coming in, and it generates a lot of misunderstanding and conflict. Okay, but we also must also go, you must have done it, go to the Myanmar side and listen to them and find out why or how we can resolve this problem by not sending your problem to other countries. Okay, and from what my understanding from Myanmar people, not all of them are people of Myanmar nationality. They're actually migrants from Bangladesh. And this, I think, is a leftover from colonial days. So I think we need to look at the whole issue and not totally blame the Myanmar authorities. But obviously, Myanmar have a responsibility to look into this in a more effective way. Bangladesh, on the other hand, cannot just send their people out and dump in on other countries, because there's a limit to what the people of the other countries will be able to do it. I think you have a similar situation in Western Europe, where people coming from Africa, Asia, or to your shores. The local people will have a limitation of how long they can accept this. So I think we have to look at the root cause why these people are coming. In Africa, it could be because of economic problem created by world institution, World Bank financial, and local dictatorship. So we have to look at all these issues instead of looking at it superficially, because some of these people really have no means of earning economic living in their countries because of exploitation, underdevelopment, all these things. So I think peacemaker must look at it in a more in-depth situation, devoid from media pressure, devoid from other pressure, and really try to find ways to resolve this problem. Maybe you need to have to generate economic activities in the country concerned to solve the problem. Okay, but some of these countries are actually exploiter of these people. So we have to look at the issue in total and try to help resolve the problem, instead of looking at it superficially.
Yeah, what I hear is that what's important for you is that we understand the situation more complicatedly and from the holistic view, so that we can find some solution that serve every side needs, not just left someone behind and blame someone. Just that, right? Yeah, thank you. So this is sharing, right? No, and no question for me.
No, sharing.
Thank you.
But I'm sure you handle experiences in conflict situation. You are better off in the sense, you know the situation on the ground.
It's quite difficult for me because we construct the world in our mind using the medias a lot. So we have our perception about the other ethnic. Yeah, and what's difficult for me when I work into the field is that we need to make people aware of what inside their worldview, that is real or not. And I found that when people get to connect to the other side in human level, there will be more connection. If we just connect through the media, it's misinterpretation a lot. And we also feel anger back to the other side. Yeah. Thank you. By the way, how many minutes we left, Elen, you know, or how many minutes we can be late than 2:30? Here, 2:30 in Thailand now.
We're good to tie up now if we can.
All right. Okay. I would say that things not happen as I planned today. Since the start of the session, and actually I would like to have some more interaction about the real case, and would like to give you all participants. I would like to give you all participants about experience, being understand, being empathy. But okay, 1.5 hours online is quite challenging. Even 2 hours. Okay, so by ending here, I would like to hear some 2 or 3 voices or more if you want, that maybe you can ask more if you want, or you can reflect what you got from this session that in relate to what you deeply care about. All right. For NVC, when we talk openly from our heart, our feeling and our need is more connect. And this is what I am trying to open what inside myself and try to connect with you, all participants here. Because one of my needs is connection, and I feel it's very difficult online here to connect to people. No words, no voice, camera off. Many things of human activities channel are disconnected. It's quite difficult. And I try to serve my need of contribution to others. Yep, this is from my side. Anyone would like to say about what you got from this session that relate to what you deeply care about?
Again, my name is Vincent.
Vincent, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I can repeat that I really came late, but at least I got something regardless of the few minutes that I was here. That as much as we have our own feelings when we talk to people or when we relate with people, we should be able to also think about other people's feelings. That we should not only think about what we want to achieve out of conversation or what we want to achieve out of what we want from other people, but at least try to find a middle ground for our discussion, that we can be able to benefit and the people we are talking to will be able to benefit at the same time. That we should be able to be considerate in whatever we do in our discussions, in our day-to-day dealing with people. And since the world, currently for me, I come from Kenya, and of course I stay here in Germany. It's a different country and it's a different culture, but at the same time I really need to understand how do people here in Germany relate. As much as I have my own cultural experience, I should be able to deal with people in a more open way, which is different probably from the way I could have dealt with people if I was in Kenya. There is a way people, for example, in Kenya likes making jokes. You cannot be able to bring, for example, it here. So you should be able to think and know what constitutes a joke, for example, in a German setting, so that you don't communicate something wrong because it's in a different setting, for example. So trying to understand the environment as you communicate, it's also very important. And there's somebody who also asked about how do I know, for example, how do I know what to talk to a person so that you don't exceed the limits of communicating, so that you don't go past what you should have said to somebody. I think it also needs to be, you need to study somebody, you need to relate with somebody more to be able to know how much you can be able to speak to somebody. And that is why we normally have the official communication or formal communication and the informal communication. Like in a formal way, you address somebody officially in an official, respectable manner when you do not know somebody completely. But once you relate with somebody, becomes your friend, you'll be able to know the limits of your friend. what he likes, what he doesn't like, how far you can joke, how far you cannot joke. And those are some of the lessons that I was able to get from this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Vincent. I feel connect a lot when you said. Susan and Josh, am I pronounce you right? Josh Binger. You want to say something? I saw you open your video.
I just dropped in. I am George, you can call me. It's in Dutch pronounced Sjors. So I'm from Amsterdam, the Netherlands. But I still have to tune in to your conversation, so I'm going to mute myself.
Thank you. Susan,
Hi, I came along late, and yeah, I've found it very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Maybe last one. We might have one more. People say, anyone would like to say? Oh, okay. Or you can put on chat if you want, like James put. Thank you, James. I have joined the online conference and online learning many times, many years, but this is not so much time. There's so many times that I teach online, and I found that, wow, I yearn for connection. I yearn for interaction a lot, and it's very challenging online, especially when I lead the workshop online. The human connection in many channels were cut off, and yeah, it's very deep need of mine also. Okay, so I wish this session is fruitful, or somehow you got something out for you. And if you would like to learn more about me, you can go to my website. I think you can see on my bios. And I wish some of my experience would be useful for you. Thank you, everyone, for joining this session, and see you next time. Thank you. I can unmute everyone so that you can see, you can say something or even goodbye. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Jane. Thank you, especially Ellen.
Bye.
Bye.
How do I leave?
Oh, click the leave button on the bottom right.
Hi, Jen. Nice to see you. Hello. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, there it is. It's on the top. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
You just leave. Okay, bye, guys. I'll leave.
Goodbye, Carl.
Oh, bye-bye ครับ สวัสดีครับ Thank you คุณอะไรครับ พูดภาษาไทย พลเสนาเหรอ
ครับผมชื่อไบรท์ครับ
ไบรท์นะฮะขอบคุณที่จอยนะ เราไม่เคยเจอกันใช่ไหม
ไม่เคยครับอาจารย์
โอเค ขอบคุณที่มาเจอกันในนี้ครับ
ครับ
จารย์จะรีบเมื่อไหร่ก็ได้นะคะ เราปิดได้เลยแล้วแต่
ได้ครับ เดี๋ยวผมเซฟแชทก่อนอ่านแชทไม่ทัน
เดี๋ยวพอปิดน่าจะเซฟหน้าจอถ้าไม่ได้เซฟเดี๋ยวเจนส่งให้นะส่งเป็นไฟล์ก็ได้มันก็จะเซฟหน้าจอเจน
โอ้นี่ยังไม่ได้ปิดเรคคอร์ดดีกว่าเดี๋ยวปิดก่อน
ไม่งั้นก็ copy paste ก็ได้